Hello everyone, welcome to Zoho Sheet's webinar. I'm Jaya Shankari, the product marketer for Zoho Sheet, and I'll be the host for today's session. So in this webinar, we are going to look into the latest update or the latest features that we had released as a part of charts in Zoho Sheet. So this latest update includes a new chart type called the weighted funnel chart. And along with that, we also released an array of new options using which you can customize your chart further. So let's get started. This will be the agenda for this session. So first we'll look into a brief introduction about charts and why you should use them. And then we'll move on to what Zoho Sheet provides with respect to charts, followed by which we'll look into the latest set of features that we had released as a part of charts in Zoho Sheet. And finally, we'll jump into a demonstration where I'll show you how you can use these new set of features to customize your charts. So why should you use charts in your spreadsheet? Charts are commonly used for visually representing a set of data that you have in your spreadsheet. There are various chart types present, each commonly used for a specific data type or use case. In Zoho Sheet, we provide more than 35 different types of charts from which you can pick based on the data that you have. And along with that, Zoho Sheet also provides you with an extensive array of customization options using which you can make your charts look more contextual and visually appealing. Also within Zoho Sheet, you can get help from an artificial intelligence called Zia. So using Zia, in a single click, you can get the complete list of charts, pivot tables, and insights about your data. So if you want to insert a chart or pivot table from that particular Zia panel, you can simply drag and drop the chart into your worksheet and finish up your reports in a matter of seconds. And Zoho Sheet is also tightly integrated with Zoho Writer. That is an online word processing software from Zoho. So if you're working on a document based on a data that's there in your spreadsheet, and if you want your chart to be there in the Writer document, you can simply copy and paste the live or dynamic chart from Zoho Sheet to Zoho Writer document in such a way that whenever there is a change in the data or the chart in the Zoho Sheet file, that will get automatically updated in your Zoho Writer document as well. The chart and Zia features are also available on our mobile applications for both iOS and Android, so you can visualize your data on the go. So this is the list of features that we had released as a part of our latest update for charts. I'll be showing all these features in the demonstration, so now I'll just give a brief introduction. So first up, we have a new chart type, that is the weighted funnel chart. A weighted funnel chart is nothing but a more accurate way of representing the progressive reduction in your data. And followed by that, we have a set of options for customizing your chart too. So we have a sorting series option. So using this, you can sort the series that you have in your chart without having to change the source data. Next up, we have the data label positioning. So with this update, you can choose where you want to position your data labels in the chart. If you want to position those labels outside the series or inside the series, etc. So you can pick the position where you want to place the data labels to. We've also added some customization options for the markers that you use in a line graph. So you can choose the shape and size of those markers for each series in the line graph too. And also you can customize the series border. You can either choose to apply the border color for each series individually or to all the series at once. So now we'll jump into the demonstration and I'll show you how you can use all these new set of features in your spreadsheet. So this is the spreadsheet I'll be using for the demonstration. So as you can see, I have 3 different worksheets using which I'll be showing you the various options that we just saw in the slide before. So now in this first worksheet, you can see I have a sales pipeline data. So we have the number of prospects, qualified leads, proposals, negotiations, and finally we have the number of deals closed. So this shows the various steps involved in a sales process. So this is just one example for which you can use a weighted funnel chart. So let's see how we can draw a weighted funnel chart for this particular data. So for that, I'm just going to select the data here, and either you can go to the insert menu and choose chart, or you can use the toolbar here. So I'll just click on the insert chart icon here, and that will display the various chart types that are present in Zoho Sheet. So here under other charts, you can find the weighted funnel chart type. So now to insert this chart, I'll just click on it, and that will insert the chart into the worksheet. Now I'll just reposition it here. And now as you can notice, The weighted funnel chart represents each value in the form of a bar, and you can notice that all the bars are of equal height and there's a space between the bars representing each value. So this makes it easier to notice the decrease in value proportionate to the previous value. So now, just to add more context to this weighted funnel chart, I'm going to add a chart title and subtitle. So you can simply double click on a chart and that will open up the side panel on the right. So here under customize, you can see an option called chart and axis titles. So this side panel provides you with all the options that are necessary for you to customize your chart. So now I'll just type in a chart title and then I'll add a subtitle here. So even when I look at this chart without looking at the data, I'll know what this data actually represents. So now that we have added the title and subtitle for this chart, you can notice that the data labels in this particular chart is not uniformly positioned. That is because of the varying size of each bar. So you can see that the first two data labels are positioned inside the series or the bar, whereas the last three data labels are positioned outside. So now, just to make this chart look more neat and to make the data labels uniformly positioned, go to data labels. So in this drop down, you can see that there are two options provided for this particular chart. So this option provided for positioning the data label will change corresponding to the chart type that you have currently selected. So here for this weighted funnel chart, we have two different options that are provided. There is one is inside and another is outside. So now I'm just going to place the data labels outside each bar or series. So once I click on outside, you can see that on the left, all the data labels in the chart are now placed outside the bar or the series. So this way you can choose where you want to position your data label in your chart too. So now in this worksheet, we have seen how we can insert a weighted funnel chart, make it more contextual, and also reposition data labels to make it look neat. So now we'll move on to the next worksheet where I'll be showing you the other features for customization. So in this worksheet, you can see I have a simple data here on top. This data has the list of gift items and the expected cost of those items and the actual cost of those gift items. And on the right, you can see I have two charts. So the chart on top represents the comparison between the expected and actual cost of each item, and the chart below that represents contribution for each gift item towards the total expense. So here we'll start with the first chart here on top. So as you can see, we already have the chart title, the legend and the axis provided. So this chart is contextually meaningful and perfect, but let's say I just want to make a small change to its style. So when it comes to data visualization, it's also important that we customize the chart style based on the spreadsheets theme or even your brand theme or even based on your personal preference. So here I'm just going to show you one smart feature that we had released as a part of the latest update. For example, let's say I want to apply a darker color as a background for this particular chart. So here you can notice that the font color of the chart title, legends and the axis are in black. So when I use a gray or darker background color, this font color is not going to be clearly legible. So in this case, I need not sit and manually change the font color of each element, say the chart title or the axis or even the legend. So based on the background color that you apply for your chart, Zoho Sheet will automatically change the font color that is present in your chart. Using the contextual menu here, I'm just going to give a darker gray shade as the background color for this chart. So you can notice that as soon as I changed the background color of this chart to a darker shade, the font color of the various elements present in this chart changed automatically to a lighter shade. So this way the various elements in the chart are clearly visible and easy to read. So now when I change the background color back to white, you can see that the font color changed again to black, making it legible on a white background. So as I mentioned earlier, we've also added an option using which you can apply border to the series in your chart. So now for that, we'll go to the side panel here, and under series here, you can see that there's an option here called border color, using which you can select the color from this palette for the border of your series. Now before selecting the border color, you can see an option here called apply to. So this drop down allows you to select the series for which you want to apply the border. You can either choose to apply a common border color for all the series in your chart, or you can choose a separate border color for each series in your chart. So now let's select the series called actual cost. So once you select that particular series, you can see the color of that series being displayed here. So if you want to change the color of that particular series, you can do that. So now before we apply the border, I'm just going to change the transparency of this particular series. So now I've increased the opacity of this series. So you can see on the left that the blue bar has become a little transparent, showing the grid lines behind it. So now that I've increased the opacity of this series, I'm going to apply a border color here. So now from this palette, I'm going to choose blue. So here you can see that a clear blue colored border line has been drawn for the actual cost series alone. And if you do not want the border color, you can just click on the same option, and here you can find an option called no border. So that will remove the border. And if you're not sure about what color to apply for each series in your chart, you can simply click on apply to all series option here, and under border color option you will find an option called automatic. So once you click on that option, you can see that here Zoho Sheet detects the color of your chart series and applies a border color corresponding to that particular series color. So here you can see that for the blue columns we have the blue border, and for the green ones we have the green border. So this way you can make your charts more visually appealing. So now moving on to the next chart type, you can see that we have another column chart here at the bottom that shows the actual cost of each item. So this way I'll know how much each item has contributed to the actual total expense. So here you can notice that some columns or some values here do not have much difference between each other. So it makes it a little difficult for me to know which item has actually contributed to a higher expense than the other items in the list. So for this I can use an option called sort data. So for that, in the side panel, go to general, and here you can find an option called sort data. So using this particular option, you can sort the data present in your chart directly on the chart without having to change or sort the source data in your spreadsheet. So now I'll just select the option here, and on the left you can see that the values are now sorted in a descending order starting from the highest value to the lowest value. So this makes it easier for me to know which products or items have actually cost more than the other items in the list, even without looking at the data labels present in the chart. So now once I click on sort data, you can see two more options below that, that is sort by and order. So using the sort by option, you can choose what you want the chart to be sorted based on. So you can either choose to sort the chart based on the value or even the name of the items present. And the second option is you can choose the order in which you want to sort the data present in your chart. That is either descending or ascending. We already have the chart sorted in a descending order. So now I'll just choose ascending to see how the chart changes. So now I've clicked on ascending, and on the left you can see that the chart is now ordered in such a way that it displays the products starting from the product with the lowest cost to the product with the highest cost. So now I'll just change it back to descending. This way you can choose to sort the data in your chart directly without altering the source data in your worksheet. So moving to the next option now. Previously we saw that we can position a data label inside weighted funnel chart with two options, that is inside and outside. So now let's see how we can change the position of data labels for this particular column chart. So now I'll go to customize, and under data labels I'll click on the position drop down. So in the weighted funnel chart, we had two options using which we could position the data label, that is inside and outside. But here for the column chart, you can see that four different options are being displayed for me. That is, one of the options is outside, and other than that, for placing the data label inside the column, you have three different positions given. So you can either choose to place the data label nearest to the base of the column, or in the middle of each column, or even towards the end. So here I'm just going to show you how the position changes for each option. So when I choose Insight Base, you can see that the data labels are now positioned at the bottom of each column. And now I'll choose Insight Middle. So that places the data label values in the middle of each column. And then when I choose Insight End, you can see that the data labels are now positioned towards the end of each column on the top. So this way you can choose the position of data labels based on your preference. So in this worksheet, we saw how Zoho Sheet automatically changes the font color percent in your chart elements based on the background color of the chart. And then we saw how we can sort the data in your chart directly without having to alter or make any changes to the source data. And also we saw how we can reposition the data labels in the chart and also add border colors to the series present in the chart to make it more clear. And now we'll move on to the next worksheet to look at the other options too. So in this worksheet, you can see I have a sample marketing data. So this represents the number of page views that each URL is getting on a daily basis. So I have the date, the page URLs, the source of page views, that is organic, referral and direct, and I have the total page view values as well. And here on the right, you can see that we have a line graph displaying the quarterly consolidated page view count for all the 3 pages or the page URLs. So now let's see how we can add markers to this particular line graph and how we can customize the markers too. So now in this side panel, you can go to series and you can find an option called markers here. So now I'm just going to click on this option. You can see that on the left, the markers have been added to the line graph for all the 3 series. And if you wish to add or customize the marker for individual series separately, you can do that too. So here you can see an option called apply to. So when you click on that drop down, you can see that the individual series are also being listed. So similar to the border option that we saw previously, you can also choose to customize the marker for the individual series in the chart. So now let's click on say features, the second URL here. So after choosing the markers option, you can see that there are 2 more options being displayed below that, that is shape and size. So you can choose to change the shape of the marker points based on the predefined shapes given here in this drop down. So you can see that the shapes provided are circle, square, diamond, triangle and triangle down. So now I'm just going to choose the option diamond. So you can see that on the left, the marker for the red line alone has changed to diamond shape, whereas the marker for the other lines remain as circle. So now I'm also going to increase the size of this particular marker for the red line alone. So let's make it 7. So on the left, you can now clearly see the diamond shape here, differentiating it from the other markers. So this way you can either choose to customize the marker for individual series in your line graph or for even all the series at once. So in this demonstration, we saw how you can use a weighted funnel chart to visualize a progressive data. And then we saw the various customization options where you can reposition your data label. You can add borders to your series in the chart. You can change the background color of your chart, and Zoho Sheet will automatically change the font color for the elements present in your chart. And also we saw how you can customize the markers present in your chart, and also how you can sort the data in your chart directly without having to change the source data. So do try out all these new customization options provided by Zoho Sheet and give us your feedback. If you have any questions or feedback about the features that were shown in this webinar or other features in Zoho Sheet, you can write to us anytime at support@zohosheet.com and we'll be happy to help. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any feedback about this webinar, do drop them as comments below. You can also watch our previous webinar videos using the link in the description. Thank you again for watching this webinar. See you in the next session.